What's up, everybody? Anthony here, specialtymotorcars.net, and this isn't one of my normal for sale videos. I know this is going to be a painful video because I'm about to lose probably a lot of money on this car behind me and another car outside I'm going to show you. I always bring you the nicest, cleanest Cadillacs, Lincolns, all that stuff. Well, this is kind of the flip side. A year or two ago, I did a video on a car that I bought sight unseen from actually another dealer who specializes in Lincolns, who sold me a 97 town car with a giant rot hole in the frame and pretended he knew nothing about it. So I licked my wounds. I stripped the car for parts and I junked it. I took a $4,000 or $5,000 car and I just sent it to the junkyard. I wasn't going to fix it. I wasn't going to put it on the road. Well, here is another case of that. This time I didn't buy it directly from like a dealer or something. I'll tell you all about it. Let me show you these cars. So one of the risks that I take when buying cars sight unseen from auctions, usually I don't buy a lot of these from auctions, but from estates, from private individuals, you got to put a lot of trust in people. Sometimes you get disappointed. Like the one that I just referenced, that town car, that was a giant disappointment because I bought it from a dealer who specializes in Lincolns in an area where they don't have rust. And he basically told me, well, sorry, there's nothing I can do. This is a little different. So this car I bought sight unseen from, it came out of the original owner's estate in Kentucky. And you can see it's a beautiful car. Now before, when I got this car, it had a beautiful set of chrome wheels. I'll explain what I did there in a minute. But it's a limited, just like that white over tan one I sold just a few weeks ago. This is a similar package. It's got the two-tone seats, a 55,000 mile car. It was a one-owner car, and obviously it's trimmed out like just how I like these cars, with the top, with the two-tone, the chrome, the gold, the chrome, the gold. It has everything. It has all the eyes. This being a Kentucky car, I knew I didn't have anything to worry about with rust. I was told the car was in good shape, and it generally is, but here's the big disappointment. This car was a smoker's car, and, I mean, amongst other things, but the biggest thing is the fact that the car was a smoker's car. And as soon as I got the windows down, and it's stinking up my shop. You can just see the nastiness, of grossness. So when I get, and I'm like, oh, this car is so mint, and people are like, well, Anthony, it should be mint. It's only got 40 or 50,000 miles. This car is a prime example of the complete opposite of how a 40 or 50,000 mile car could be just so nasty and neglected. Not only cosmetically because they smoked in it, I mean, that's their choice, but they just didn't take care of this car. It's a pretty car on the outside, but underneath, no, I don't mean physically underneath, but deep down, it's a pig. You can see here, I mean, it's just the grossness, the carpeting. This is, like I said, a 55,000 mile car. The seats are kind of beat up. The steering wheel is absolutely trashed. I mean, I feel like I'm getting cancer as I sit in this car. I think actually there's probably giant cigarette burn holes. Now, usually I look for stuff like that. And I usually pick up on stuff like that. But this car, oh my God. I didn't pick up on that. So this car, it just wasn't loved. I mean, it's as obvious can be that this car just really wasn't loved. And that's too bad because it's a really pretty car. So I bought this car. I stepped up, bought it sight unseen. I mean, other than pictures, figured, okay, it's just a little dirty. But Grandma really didn't take care of her car. She smoked with the windows up because it just absolutely stinks in here. Unfortunately, the top is kind of beat up and stained. I'm going to try to do something where I dye the top to make it look a little bit better. What I'm going to do with this car is I'm going to clean it up as best I can, and I'm going to send it to the wholesale auction. I'm going to send it back to auction. This car isn't something I'll even put in my yard sale because not only does it have a disgustingly gross interior, not only is it a little weathered on the outside with the top. I mean, the top can be brought back again. You can dye it. You can clean it up. It needs a lot of mechanical work. The front struts are junk. It needs brakes all the way around. It did need tires. I took a set of tires and wheels off of it. These beautiful chrome limited wheels came off that car, and the tires were date coated from 2010. Good tread. Probably any other dealer would sell it with these tires. They're not really dry rotted, but they're black walls, and obviously I would put white walls on. But I had a nice set of takeoffs that I took off a car, base alloys with nice Michelins on it. And I said, well, if I'm going to lose my shirt on a car, I might as well get something out of it. So I got a nice set of chrome wheels out of it. And I'll just send it to the auction like this, because those wheels aren't going to make any bit of a difference on this car when it goes to the auction. Actually, this might be better because it's got nice Michelin tires. But so it needs struts. It's got an exhaust leak. And the worst thing is, I don't think this car has really ever had an oil change, because this car has bad timing chain tensioners, which is really strike 3. The cosmetic stuff is strike 1. The smoking part is strike 2. And then the hardcore mechanical stuff is strike 3. I don't want to get into putting timing chains. I don't want to get into putting timing chain tensioners or guides in a 55,000 mile car. Selling it and then worrying down the road, is something going to come back and bite me? So that's why this car has got to go. So I'm going to get this car cleaned up. We're going to see how good I can get it to look. And we're going to send it to the auction along with a Cadillac that I have sitting outside. And we're going to see how much money I'm going to lose. I feel like it's going to be a lot. I'll report back at that at the end, and we'll see. Fingers crossed it's not too much. But essentially, these cars are going adios. Everybody always asks me how I clean my carpets. And this little guy here is my carpet extractor. It's a Terminator brand heated carpet extractor. Basically, I have the heated portion here with the fresh, you can even feel the heat coming out of there. Heats the solution up. This is the recovery tank. I got a dual vac system. Got the hose and everything down there. But essentially what I do is I'll go through the car, vacuum, all the loose stuff up, and then pre-soak it, let it sit, scrub it, agitate it, and suck it out. Now this carpet over here, it actually looks like it was probably a leaker from the cowl at one point. I mean, some of that should come out, but because it's going to the auction, this car doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna soak this carpet here. And really, the cigarette smell, I mean, it's kind of in everything. So, and now we're gonna extract it. And you can see here, when I pull the trigger, I'm spraying. So when I extract it, I spray it, I suck it out, and then I go over it again. And this is how I make my lines. This is definitely by far one of the nastiest, most unkept cars I've ever had. All right, we're gonna do a nastiness test. I got the back seat pretty well cleaned up. But I've done everything but essentially this driver's area. And again, you can just see how just ew everything is. Center console, the steering wheel. I mean, nasty, really. So I'm gonna take a can of Tough Stuff, and I have a brand new microfiber white one. I'm gonna let the Tough Stuff sit on here and see what comes off. I'm gonna show you on that rag. Just gonna cover everything. Let it work in there and lift. I'm really not concerned about the button. Looks like I just showered this thing in baking soda. I'm gonna let that sit there for a minute. And we're gonna see how nasty this is. I can already... Alright, we'll start up here. I just did this one small little section. And you can already see. Let me do the whole door panel. Oh, gosh. All right, the door panel is looking a lot better. This is just, just worn out, built up. I'm gonna do that seat now and see if we can get that seat to look a little better. Try it on the cleaner side. Yeah. Ugh. All right, so you can see this seat actually came out a lot better than I thought it was going to. It actually looks pretty good. You can see just all caked up on the headliner. This car, poor thing. This, I don't think this is coming off. This is just like a little bit of buildup, but also I think that's like leather or vinyl that came off the wheel. I don't think that's just all buildup. A little bit of makeup. Take that right off. Ooh. Ew. This is nasty. Look at just the grossness of the. Oh, yeah. All right. Now look at this town car. This town car is styling and profiling. Did a nice clay bar to it, so it's nice and smooth. Dressed the tires, and actually those wheels and tires really don't look bad on this car. I mean, again, I'm just keeping the chromes for myself, but these were nice corrosion-free wheels and really nice emissions. But look how good this car looks. And you can see the reflection here. This car might do pretty well, I hope. You can see the spot on the top. Fix that. That looks great. Open up the inside here. Gotta do the windows still. But inside cleaned up. I mean, you can still smell the smoker smell. Nothing really I can do about that. That's why I'm getting rid of it. But cleaned up so it doesn't look like a pig anymore. Can't do anything with the steering wheel either. What do you think, Papa Bear?
I think it looks good from here.
Looks good from there?
Yeah.
So the other car that I'm going to lose my shirt on is this thing here. I absolutely love these Cadillacs. And this was definitely an emotional purchase. This is a 2008 Cadillac DTS, but it's got the Barrett's package. And you can see this is an aftermarket top treatment done by E&G Classics. I absolutely adore that look on this car. Then it's got the Vogues. This is an 08 with 59,000 miles, but this car is just riddled with issues. Both these cars are examples of low mileage cars that older people own that really didn't take care of them. You automatically assume that every one of these town cars or caddies are, you know, little old lady cream puffs, but they're not. This is an ideal example. This car came out of Pennsylvania. One owner car. And look at, I don't know if you can see it, but there is some nasty previous bodywork. Look at the mud. That's all Bondo holding this bumper together. So it's got ridiculous bodywork on the bumper. The Vogue tires are absolutely junk. Those are $1,200. Look at the door. Not only is the color off, but look at the textured body. That is like just like shitty sanding. Top is actually in nice shape. A little bit of pitting on the trim. There's really nothing you can do about that. All this stuff is discontinued through E&G Classics. And then we come around to the rear bumper. I think this car was hit in the back. It's got a clean Carfax, but the trunk won't close all the way, no matter how much I adjust it. And the back bumper is just as ridiculous as the front bumper. Look at the paint. I mean, just look. This is where it's bad. Look at this. That's all body filler, poorly sanded. So I think this car was tapped in the back, probably bent the rear floor pan or trunk pan, I guess. And that's what's causing the trunk lid to go askew. So we got horrible paint work throughout the vehicle. Interior is not horrendous. I mean, this is kind of common stuff. But I bought this car off of like 2 pictures from an auction. It was traded in. Windshield scratched. Can't do anything about that other than replace it. And you know what? I saw that emblem there in the picture. That should have been a sign that I should have stayed away from this car. But we start this thing up and it's got every light on. Check washer fluid. Service tire monitor, means it needs TPMS sensors, ABS, traction light, service brake assist. I know there's more. Parking assist off. Service traction, service stability track, service lane departure, washer fluid, yada, yada, yada. So, this car, I mean, like, the inside's really not, again, horrible, other than that, and the door over here. But this thing, again, emotional purchase, bought it because I like the look of the top. You know, this is, I guess, just an example. It's not really me complaining, because this is just the nature of the business. But this is what I deal with. You know, you buy some, you win some, you lose some, basically. But like Kenny Rogers says, you have to know when to fold them, because, you know, I don't want to sell this thing. You know, it's just, you can't fix this. And you can put new tires on and do all this, but the car's just so edgy, unfortunately. But I do love this top. So this one we're going to clean up now. And we're going to take both of these to the auction, and we're going to see how bad I do and how much money I lose. And I'm going to let you know that in just a few minutes when we sell these cars.
1 week later.
All right, so last week was painful. That Lincoln. I'm going to give you the final numbers at the end of this video. Now it's time to get rid of this Cadillac. And I just gave it a quick clean up, and I know in pictures this car looks phenomenal. It's like, wow, look at the top, the trim. You know, but the deeper you dig on this car, the uglier it gets, really. This side is probably the worst. Let me just move my pack here, but you might have already spotted the ugliness. Look at the bodywork on that door. The color difference on the bottom of that door. Look at how crude this is. And you probably can't notice it, but you can actually see and feel, even though it's white, you can feel the bodywork and the filler. The Vogue tires are nice, you know, good looking, but dry rotted. A little bit of rust starting down there. The top trim is bubbly. A couple spots there, it's bubbly. The windshield's got this windshield wiper scratch in it. You know, it's a real edgy car. The car lived outside. Wasn't really well loved, unfortunately. It just looked a lot better in pictures. I did run the codes for it, and the code comes back. That's something stuck to the dash there. The code comes back as a rear wheel speed sensor code. And I don't have like a big technical scanner, just like one of those cheap ones, because most of my cars aren't even OBD2 compatible, so I really don't need one. But so I just tossed an ABS, or not an ABS sensor, but a wheel bearing in the back, thinking that that's probably what it was. Cleared the codes, but the light came right back on shortly after. So actually, they just all went out. And I cleared the messages, but over here, it had a traction light and it had a ABS lights. Maybe I just needed to drive it. Doesn't sound right, but seatbelt, I know. You know, so $1,400 for tires, $300 for a windshield, new front and rear bumper covers because they got so much body filler in them they look like crap. Probably $1,000 painted on the car. Fix the door, another $500. You know, and then you got to chase the electrical gremlins of these lights and the monitor for this lane departure, and all that stuff adds up. And then on top of all that stuff, one of the things that sometimes plagues these North Stars, and this one unfortunately is a victim of it, is it's an oil leaker. And you know, these things are kind of wet engines, and you know, you almost sometimes have to expect these things to seep a little bit of oil, but this thing hemorrhages oil. And you know, the cost of it, just, you add all that stuff up, it's not worth it. I mean, I could put an oil pan gasket in it and do that, you know, there's another $1,000 or whatever, and fix that. But again, you just add it all up. So I say to myself, okay, well, what am I gonna do? I can go through this car, fix it up, make it as nice as I can, probably put another $3,000 to $4,000 into the car, maybe more, to get the car to be that type of car. But it's the hard way to break even. or I can take the car back to the auction now and try to auction the car off. And I know I'm going to take a loss because, again, like the Lincoln, I paid a premium because the looks of this car, 59,000 miles. You know, it had the Vogue tires, had the Barrett's trim. I paid a premium knowing I could get a premium for it, but you know, I was bidding against other dealers. It's not like I bought off the street, so the price of used cars, and this is kind of a later model used car, you know, you just get stuck with these things. And I bought this from a new Cadillac dealer. It was traded in there. It was a 2-owner car. It was bought and serviced there, so I figured it had to be a nice one. You know, they traded it back in at the same dealership. Obviously, they love their Cadillac. Well, they just beat the shit out of it and let it go down the drain. And then they said, okay, we got to get a new Cadillac and do it all over again. But when I send the car to the auction, and it happens all the time, just like last week with the Lincoln, when you send the car to the auction and you see, as a dealer, when I'm there buying cars, I want to buy cars from new Cadillac dealers. I want to buy cars from new car stores because they're fresh trade-ins. When you get a car from a used car dealer, usually it's not a trade-in, especially a 59,000 mile car or a 55,000 mile car. You question, you're like, well, why are they selling this thing? It's got to be a lemon. It's got to have a ton of problems. And here we are. The Lincoln and this one are both problem-ridden cars that I have to get rid of. So they don't command as much money. You know, kind of the bottom feeders chase after these ones when they get sold by used car dealers, because I only sell, heck, I haven't had a car at the auction for sale, and I don't even remember how long. And that's essentially my problem is you know, anybody who sees my name on the car, well, they don't even know who I am. So it's like, okay, well, you know, why is this guy running the car through the auction? You know, where a big Cadillac dealer sells 20 cars there every week, they know they're prime trade-in. So you always get less. So I'm going to get a licking on this one. We'll see how bad the licking is. But thankfully, this one was pretty clean. I didn't have to, like, clean it like I did the Lincoln. It was already cleaned from the Cadillac dealer when I got it. So let's get it down there and let's get you an update on how bad I'm going to do. All right. Well, that didn't last very long. The light came right back on. So I don't know what the heck's going on now. Bye-bye, Cadillac. Well, the numbers are in, and yeah, I definitely took a little bit of a loss. I took a big loss, but you know what? Things that make me happy? I got town cars coming out of the wazoo here. Anyways, I'm gonna, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm gonna give you I'm going to give you a inside scoop and let you know what I actually sold the cars for and how much I did lose on said cars. So here we go. So the losses. The Lincoln Town car cost me $11,650 was my total with shipping from Kentucky. Actually doesn't count the battery, so add another $100 there, but whatever. I did get the wheels out of it, so we'll count that for something. I ended up selling the Lincoln after auction fees and everything. My net was $7,225 on that car, so I lost $4,425. The Cadillac, the DTS, my total cost was shipping here, and I really didn't do anything but clean it up. Actually, no, I put a wheel bearing in it. So there's another, I forgot about that, that's not in here. I sold out, I bought that for $7,480 total cost with shipping. I sold that for $4,325 actual after auction fees. I was expecting to get a little bit more for that one, but they had a one-way ticket. That was a $3,155 loss plus wheel bearing. Total was $7,580, not including those two parts. So basically I gave away, or I completely lost the DTS. It was within $100 of cost of my loss versus what I actually was into that DTS for. But they're gone. You know what? I have so much other stuff here to deal with. Those are gone. They just weren't that nice. And you know what? My reputation means a lot more than those cars. So I'm going to let somebody else deal with them, sell them for a lesser cost, lesser whatever. It's just they weren't for me. Anyways, I have to move on. But I have lots of good stuff to work on. Tell me what you would have done. Would you have taken that big of a loss? You know, it's all part of the business. That's what you got to be prepared for, especially buying cars sight unseen. You know, in my position, I'm buying cars raw as they come in. When you buy them from me, I'm servicing them. I'm putting them, making them as good as I can, servicing them, going through them, and then showing you exactly what the cars are. Unfortunately, I don't get that same luxury when I buy the cars. So I get caught sometimes with stuff like that. Anyways, leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you have done. What have you done? Would you have done it differently? Would you have tried to sell them elsewhere? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. If you got some time, check out the merch store, specialtymotorcars.net. You can get Papa Bear and Anthony merch. That'll help ease my pain. Anyways, totally appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching. A couple upcoming units, 92 Brougham. And on the lift over there is a 2007 Signature Limited Town Car with 45,000 miles, 46,000 on this. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk to you on the next one. I wonder how much a kidney is worth.